statistic and probability, mean and variance of the sampling distribution of the sample mean. In the previous lesson, we discussed about the sampling distribution of the sample mean, where we are able to identify the sampling distribution of the statistic, which is the sample mean, by listing all the possible mean and finding the frequency and solve the mean of the sample mean. So now, this is a continuation of the sampling distribution of the sample mean, but in this lesson, we're going to find the mean and the variance of the sampling distribution of the sample mean. So let's start. First is we need to recall the formula of the mean of the population. This is from the previous lesson. We have the parameter and also the statistic where there is a difference for formula in population and sample. So first is to recall the formula of the mean of the population, where the mean is equal to the summation of x over n, where x is the mean or the sample mean and n is the observation, total observation. Next is to recall the formula of the variance of the population. So the variance of the population is equal to variance is equal to summation of x squared, or the quantity of x squared, over n minus the quantity of summation of sample mean over n raised to 2. Or pwede natin gamitin, or eto yung mostly na ginagamit na formula to get the variance of the population dahil mas easy na siya. So, variance is equal to summation of the quantity of x minus mean squared over n. So, mas maganda na ito na yung gamitin natin dahil ito ay subok na natin. Most especially, ito ay ginamit na natin sa ating probability distribution. So, next is to recall the formula of the standard deviation of the population. So, to get the standard deviation, lalagyan lang natin siya ng square root, yung ating formula sa ating variance, then we will remove the square doon sa ating variance symbol. So, that is standard deviation is equal to square root of the summation of x squared over n minus the quantity of summation of x over n squared, or eto na din yung gagamitin natin. The standard deviation is equal to square root of summation of x minus mean squared over n. So now that we have recalled the formula of the mean, variance, standard deviation of the population, we will proceed to our example. So para mas lalo nating maintindihan ang ating lesson, how to get the mean and the variance of our sampling distribution of the sample mean. So now we have the example. Consider the population consisting of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Suppose that samples of size 2 are drawn from this population. Describe the sampling distribution of the sample means. What is the mean and variance of the sampling distribution of the sample mean? So, eto ay gagamitin lang din natin yung napag-aralan natin for the sampling distribution of the sample mean. So, we have steps. So, first step is compute the mean of the population. So we have the mean of the sample mean is equal to the summation of sample mean over n, where n is the total number of the observation. So this n is capital letter. So, yan. So, capital letter natin yan. Yan. Because we are in the population. So next natin is we have here the problem on the side para hindi tayo malilito. So, we're going to compute the mean of the population. So, what are we going to do is the summation of the sample mean. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Yun. Ipag-a-add natin sila. So, 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 3 is 6, plus 4 is 10, plus 5 is 15 over n, dahil 5 yung ating population. So, 15 over 5 is equal to 3. So, the mean of the sample mean is 3. So, that is for step 1. So step 2 is to compute the variance of the population. So I have here another, again, the problem. So I have here now the table. So yung table natin is consisting of X, which is the sample mean, and sample mean minus the mean, and then sample mean minus mean squared. So kung natatandaan nyo, ito yung pinag-aralan natin sa ating probability distribution. So we have here the formula of mean, which is summation of X minus mean squared over N. So paano ba natin nakuha itong X minus mean? So if you remember, ang nakuha nating mean kanina ay 3. So we will subtract the 1 minus 3 is equal to negative 2. And 2 minus 3 is equal to negative 1. And 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. 5 minus 3 is equal to 2. Again, minus 3 natin siya dahil nakuha natin yung mean na 3. So next is to get the squared of of X minus mean. So negative 2 squared is equal to positive 4. Negative 1 squared is equal to positive 1. 0 squared is equal to 0. 1 squared is equal to 1. And 2 squared is equal to 4. So the total is 4 plus 1 is 5. Plus 1 is 6. Plus 4 is equal to 10. So the mean is equal to 10 over 5. So yung 10 ay dito lang sa numerator dahil summation lang siya ng squared of X minus mean. So 10. And then yung total number of observation natin, ito pong X, which is 5 po siya. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So 10 divided by 2 is equal to 10 divided by 5 is equal to 2. So if you're going to use the another formula, same lang din ang kalalabasan niya. So dito, mas maganda, ito na lang yung gamitin natin formula. So next is step 3. Determine the number of possible sample of size is equal to 2. So since the size of the population is 5, we have n is equal to 5, and we shall draw a sample of 2. So we have here the a formula of the combination. So combination of n, taken n, where n factorial over n minus n factorial times n factorial. So yung capital N natin is the number of observation, and the small n is the sample size. So yung small n natin ay 2. So we have here the formula, and then we are going to substitute the value to the n or capital N and small n. So 5 factorial, let's see again, combination of 5 taken 2 is equal to 5 factorial over 5 minus 2 factorial times 2 factorial. So we are going to expand it. So 5 factorial times 4 factorial times 3 times 2 times 1 over 3 siya dahil 5 minus 2 is equal to 3 factorial times 2 times 1. So we are going to eliminate. So pwede na tayo mag-eliminate dahil same lang din naman ito. So 2 times 1 is equal to 2 times 1. So 1 ang magiging sagot niyan. So tinanggal na natin. So next naman natin is, ayan na yung natira. So since we have the 3 factorial, so we will expand it also. So pag in-expand natin, we can see that pwede nating tanggalin na rin yung same niya dahil 1 lang din ang magiging sagot. So we can cancel out the 3. Then the remaining is 5 times 4 over 2 times 1. And then when we multiply it, that is 20 over 2 is equal to 10. So the combination is 10. So dapat, ang possible sample natin ay 10. So we have here the next step, the step 4. So list all possible samples and their corresponding mean. So eto na yung ating possible samples na may, ayan, na may size of 2. So yung size of 2 natin. And then we have the mean. So paano ba natin nakuha yung possible sample, yung mga sample natin? So if you remember, yung mga sample mean natin is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So, ganito siya. To get the sample or the possible sample in the given of 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 with the size of 2, so magko-combination lang tayo. So, ang nasolve natin kanina for the combination of 5 taken 2 is equal to 10. So, dapat yung list of possible sample natin is 10. So, ibig sabihin, possible sample. So, yung possible sample natin dapat 10. So, mag-start tayo mag-combine ng 2, ng size of 2. So, first is 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 4, 1, and 5. Since I am done with 1, I will proceed to 2. So, 2, 3, 2, 4, 2, 5. So, I'm done with number 2. So, next ko naman ay 3. So, 3, 4, 3, 5. Then, after ko ng 3, I will proceed sa 4. So, that is 4 and 5. So, kaya hindi ko na inano yung 5 dahil pag sinama ko pa yung 5, 5, 1, meron na tayong 5, 1. This is 1, 5. So, 5, 2, meron na din. 5, 3. So, dapat hindi siya uulit. So, ngayon, we will count the possible sample. Dapat 10 siya. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, this is how we get the possible sample if the combination is 10 and the size is 2. So, next is how do we get the mean? Paano natin nakuha tong mean? So, i-add lang natin to, then i-divide natin sa size niya, which is 2. So, 1 plus 2 is equal to 3 divided by 2 is equal to 1.5. Then, 1 plus 3 is equal to 4 divided by 2 is equal to 2. 1 plus 4 is equal to 5 divided by 2 is equal to 2.5. And so on. Ganon yung gagawin natin hanggang sa pang-sampung sample natin. So, next is construct the frequency distribution of the sample mean. So, eto yan. So, we have now the sample mean and also the frequency. Paano ba natin nakuha tong sample mean and the frequency? Yung sample mean ay nanggaling sa ating possible sample. So, eto siya. Sa mean natin. Sorry. So, in-arrange lang natin yung mean natin into ascending order. So, 1.5, 2, 2.5, 3, 3.5, 4, and 4.5. So, yung frequency manggagaling din sa mean kung ilan yung value ng 1.5. So, ilan ba yung value ng 1.5 dito? Isa lang. So, that's why the frequency is 1. Ilan yung 2? So, isa lang din. 2.5 natin ay, ilan ang 2.5 natin? So, we have 1 and 2. So, that's why the frequency is 2. Yung 3 natin ay dalawa din. That's why the frequency is 2 also. 3.5 also. Yung 4 natin ay isa lang. So, that's why 1 siya. And yung 4.5 natin ay isa lang. So, to check if our frequency is correct, dapat yung total number of possible sample natin is equivalent sa total of frequency natin. So, if you remember, this is total of 10. So, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. So, if we add the frequency, 1 plus 1 is 2, plus 2 is 4, plus 2 is 6, plus 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9, plus 1 is 10. So, ibig sabihin, if they are equal, tama na yung frequency natin. So, make sure na tama yung frequency natin. Dahil magkamali lang din tayo dito, is mamamali na din yung the next table natin. So, next natin is step 5. So, next natin is to get the probability of the sample mean. So, paano ba natin kukunin yung probability of the sample mean? So, paano nakuha tong fraction? So, frequency over n. So, 1 over 10 is equal to 0.10. 1 over 10 is equal to 0.10. 2 over 10, dahil yung 2 natin is the frequency, 2 over 10 is equal to 0.2, and so on. And then the total of the probability is equal to 1. So, ayan. So, next natin is step 6. So, yung step 6 natin is to compute the mean of the sampling distribution of the sample mean. So, ayan. So, kanina, meron na tayong, sa step 5, meron na tayong probability. Since meron na tayong probability, we will going to use the formula of the probability distribution. So, if you remember, ang ating formula ng probability distribution is x times p of x. Pero ngayon, same pa din naman siya, pero ngayon ay mean of the sample mean dahil sample mean na tayo, sampling distribution. So, this is the step 6. So, this is the sample mean. So, yung sample mean natin, ito na yung given kanina. And the probability mean, ito na rin yung kanina natin. So, next table natin or the next column is the sample mean times the probability mean. So, ipag-multiply lang natin sila. So, katulad lang din ng ginawa natin sa ating probability distribution. So, 1.5 times 0.10 is equal to 0.15. 2 times 0.10 is equal to 0.2. And 2.5 times 0.2 is 0.5. And 3 times 0.2 is equal to 0.6. And 3.5 times 0.2 is equal to 0.7. And 4 times 0.10 is equal to 0.4. And 4.5 times 0.10 is equal to 0.45. So, to get the mean of the sample mean, we are going to add this. Ayan, i-add natin ito. So, paano ba natin siya i-add? So, 0.15 plus 0.20 and so on is equal to 3. So, the mean of the sample mean is equal to 3. So, tatandaan natin tong sample mean natin na 3. So, next natin is step 7. So, meron na tayong mean. So, we will proceed to the variance. So, we have the table. Ito na yung nakuha natin kanina. Ayan. So, the sample mean, the probability mean, and of course, we have the mean of the sample mean. So, the next column is the mean minus the sample mean. So, 1.5 minus 3, so ipagsasubtract lang natin to. 1.5 minus 3 is equal to negative 1.5. Next natin is 2 minus 3 is equal to negative 1. 2.5 minus 3 is equal to negative 0.5. And 3 minus 3 is equal to 0. 3.5 minus 3 is equal to 0.5. And 4 minus 3 is equal to 1. And 4.5 minus 3 is equal to 1.5. So now, nakuha na natin yung sample mean minus mean of the sample mean. We will proceed now to the next column. So ano ba yung next column natin? So yung next column natin is the square of the sample mean minus the mean of the sample mean. So ang gagawin lang natin is to square the answer in this table. So, i-square lang natin yung answer natin dito. Yung answer natin dito. Ayan. So, negative 1.5 squared is equal to positive 2.25. So, again, if you're going to square it, so negative times negative is equal to positive. So, magiging positive po yan. So, negative 1 squared is equal to positive 1. Negative 0.5 is equal to positive 0.25. 0 squared is equal to 0. 0.5 squared is equal to 0.25. 1 squared is equal to 1. And 1.5 squared is equal to 2.25. So, after natin i-squared yung ating sample mean minus the mean of the sample mean, we will proceed again to another column. So, ano ba yung another column natin? So, if you remember, this is the last column para makuha na natin yung variance natin. So, yung sagot natin dun sa last nating table, last nating column, dito, ay imumultiply lang natin siya sa ating probability mean, which is 2.25 times natin dito sa 0.10. So, the answer is 0.225. So, it's better that the probability mean is converted into decimal para madali na siya. So, next is 1 times 0.10 is equal to 0.1. 2.25 times sa 0.20 natin dito is equal to 0.05 and 0 times 0.20 is equal to 0. 0.25 times 0.20 is equal to 0.05 and 1 times 0.10 is equal to 0.1 and 2.25 times 0.10 is equal to 0.225. So to get the variance, so meron tayong formula dito. So variance is equal to the summation of the mean minus the sample mean minus the mean of the sample mean squared times the probability distribution. So what are we going to do is to add this. So i-add lang natin to lahat. So ang total niyan ay 0.75. So the variance is 0.75. And to get the standard deviation, you're going to square root na lang yan. So square root of 0.75 is equal to 0.87 to be naka-round off na yon. So ganun lang paano kumuha ng ating mean and variance and standard deviation of the sample mean. So may nadagdag lang na step sa una, then pag nakakuha na kayo ng probability mean, so same process na lang din siya sa probability distribution na pinag-aralan natin in the previous lesson.